Today on the Great White Shark Experience podcast, we have Lynette and Esther from Fire Island Conservation. Responsible for developing the marine protection projects and the eco-retreats that help to fund them, both Lynette and Esther are passionate and practical conservationists. Today, we talk about their latest project, Ilha de Fogo, Island of Fire. Situated off the coast of Mozambique, a fascinating example of building an eco-resort from the ground up with conservation and sustainability in mind, and the many challenges they have faced along the way. So, welcome, Esther and Lynette. How are you guys?
Very well, thanks. Thanks for having us.
Awesome, no worries. No, it's fun to have you guys. Esther, obviously, I know you from
way back.
Yeah. You used to be the intern coordinator for White Shark Africa.
I did. A long time ago now, yeah. I do miss it though. I miss the sharks.
You do?
Yeah.
The intern life, the adventures?
Not so much. A little bit. Yeah, getting out there and going and seeing all the sort of touristy things with the interns for sure. Mostly the being on the boat and the white sharks.
And now what are you guys doing?
Well, now I work with Lynette.
Lynette,
for Fire Island Eco Retreats.
Okay.
But it's nice because it links back into my old sort of ocean lifestyle because we have the marine conservation, exactly, yeah. Because
you did do Keep Fin Alive for a long period of time. That's still going.
It's still going. It's not as strongly as it was before, but it's still linking to, Go Dive and some of the marine projects there and the diving projects, which is nice. So, still a little bit. Yeah. So hopefully I can link Keep Fin Alive to Fire Island Conservation at some point as well, since it's already established, So
that's the big question. What is Fire Island Conservation?
Well, it all starts with the little island of Mozambique.
It's a very long story how it started, but basically Fire Island Conservation started with the island in the north of Mozambique, Ilha de Fogo. Ilha de Fogo means island of fire, so that's where the name comes from, obviously. So initially the idea was to build a resort on the island. So we actually had permission from the government in Mozambique to build a 50-bedroom resort. But then once we started going there to do some recon on the place, we realized that there's like massive marine life devastation, and especially with turtles. So the idea shifted from resort to conservation, and then we're trying to establish now for the last 5-6 years to get going as a marine conservation area. So we didn't build a 50-bedroom resort. We instead built a 10-bedroom tented camp setup. That's all very eco-conscious, so everything runs on solar. We've got a desalination plant. We want to reuse the salt that's a byproduct for table salt. So it goes a long way. It's a very long story. Yeah. But then from there, we've got other properties involved as well. So the proceeds from the eco properties, we use those funds for the conservation efforts.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
That's one of those rare stories where you get the chance to be commercial or you go down the conservation route, and you choose the conservation route. Obviously, a lot of other areas that treat there is usually far too big for people to resist, but
I can tell you it's definitely not the most economical.
I was going to say,
No, exactly.
It's opposite. It costs us millions instead of potentially making millions.
Exactly,
But no, it's an amazing thing. And how's it going so far?
It's slow. It's taken a lot of time. It's just getting people out there, because obviously we're not conservationists. So that's when we got Esther involved as well. We've shifted her focus from sharks to turtles.
They're so cute.
We had to get a lot of people out there that obviously know more about it, because we have no idea what we're doing. We have a concept, but that's about as far as it goes. So we've had Moat Marine out there, we've had USAID out there, we've had
Sea Search
out there, just so that the experts can actually come and tell us what is there, what's the best route to follow, how can we preserve it. So it's been a very long, slow process. And then obviously the conservation starts with the community. So we can't just tell the people don't fish. We've got to give them something else. Yeah. So that started a whole bunch of community projects where we try and give them an alternative income so that they don't have to rely on turtles for sustenance or money or anything. So
exactly. If you just chase them off the island, they're just going to keep coming back.
Or go somewhere else.
Exactly, or go somewhere else and devastate there.
Yeah.
So,
that's it. That's another huge part of conservation though, isn't it? Like, obviously, you always want to save an environment and keep it pristine, but at the end of the day, people have got to live and they've got to feed their families, and it's the same here, it's the same everywhere.
And they're subsistence fishermen. Usually they're not making anything at all, practically. They're literally just
the
trying
most
to feed
sustainable
their
kind of
families.
fishing as well. Like when obviously the trawlers that you get in most like first world countries and cities.
It is, but obviously, I mean, there is a huge issue with the turtle poaching there because the turtles, especially the ones we see on the island, which are the hawksbill and the green, are either endangered or critically endangered.
Yeah.
So you really don't want people targeting them for any reason.
No. No, it's a tough one to sell to the locals, though.
Yeah,
I know.
we're careful to use the word poaching because, like you said, now a lot of it is for sustenance. So it's the guy in a dugout canoe that fishes and he eats it or sells it at the local market, and that really has a very low impact on the overall effect and lives of the turtles. But the big problem is they also sell to the Chinese, and you have the Chinese longliners there, and that's the major problem. But obviously the locals have a part to play in that, so they either sell to them, like I mentioned, or they allow them there. So it's really it's a difficult. For the locals, we have to change like hundreds of years of thinking. So if they grew up eating turtles and their forefathers did, for us to go and tell them don't do it anymore, it's like they're going to laugh at us. So it really is changing a mindset from the local point of view, and then also on the government level, because the government has actually given some of these Chinese longliners licenses to fish in marine protected areas. So that's a huge different other angle we have to kind of...
Yeah.
It's like looking at that sort of blue economy as well, and sort of like trying to show them that actually there is a way to sustainably fish, but you have to do it in the right way, and you have to target the right species and the right sort of quotas.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously you need to get the government on board that as well, because they're the ones that dish out those quotas. So and permits, which at the moment is... I don't think it's particularly well managed in Mozambique. Yeah.
So is that the biggest threat at the moment? Is the permits for the fishing?
The permits, but also from the Coast Guard side. I mean, the Coast Guard in the north of Mozambique doesn't even have a boat.
Okay.
So
that's interesting.
Yes, I know.
So even if they wanted to patrol, they can't because they don't have the means.
Yeah.
So one of the projects we want to get going is to raise funds to actually give the Coast Guard a boat so that they can go out. And we as civilians can't approach these people because obviously there's a safety factor. And because we live in that area there, we've got to be very careful to not ruffle too many feathers because it could be potentially dangerous to our employees, to our guests, to everything else. So we've got to approach it from the right angles.
Yeah.
That's it. No. There's a lot more, obviously a lot of issues in Mozambique that are sort of a higher priority, understandably as well. So like, you've got to see the benefit for them has to be sort of to the local people as well. So at the moment, like, I mean, why would they put a lot of money into buying a boat or something like that? So to manage it, I mean, so this is where like hopefully fundraising will help and just like uplift the local area in that sense at the same time. Yeah.
And more and more pressure. I think, did we not just reach 8 billion people? Was that not like a thing on the planet?
Yes.
And most of them are in sub-Saharan Africa.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really?
Yes.
Wow, it's incredible.
So I think India was the fastest growing, and then the second was sub-Saharan Africa.
Yes.
Which is exactly where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's becoming, those areas are going to get smaller and smaller, aren't they, as well? So
Exactly. Yeah.
So long term for Fire Island, what's the if this costs money, how's this a sustainable long term project?
Well, the only way to really have any conservation or community projects going is if it's profitable. If it's not profitable, it's not going to last. So just giving money is just a bottomless pit because you're going to have to keep giving money indefinitely. So with all the projects we're involved with, it's got to be managed in such a way that it's a business and makes profit. Because the only way you can incentivize people is if there's something in it for them at the end of the day.
100%. Yeah.
So our approach with everything is to build sustainable businesses that the locals can carry on with that makes money so that they keep doing it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I mean, there was this documentary with David Attenborough about conservation and everything else. And the ultimate problem is too many people. So a long-term goal, and that's where my passion lies, is really with educating women. Because if you educate women, they know that there's an alternative. They don't have to have 10 babies before they're 30.
Yeah.
And they don't have to stay at home. There is options for them. So the only way to control population growth is by educating women. So that's one of the projects we have going, is to actually reach out to the women in the rural areas and give them alternatives and train them, give them skills so that they can do something else and not just procreate.
And
That's exactly.
That's also part of the Fire Island project. Yeah.
Yes, if we can empower the women with these skills, like we say, then definitely things will change along that coastline, hopefully. And there's quite a few projects that are in the pipeline as well. So things like pottery as well. So we're hoping to sort of start a pottery workshop and a woodworking workshop. Yeah. And then it'll just be more sort of fisheries themselves as well. So not so much fish farming, maybe sort of I think it's mussel farm where we're looking at.
And octopus.
Octopus.
It's horrible, but
as
I mean,
much as I don't like it,
the reality is that they, especially on the reef on the east side of the island, there's like a flat reef, and there's used to be thousands of octopi.
Octopuses, I'm not sure.
But the locals, they literally walk in lines and they just like spear everything.
Yeah.
So and they're not. No one's going to stop eating calamari or stop eating octopus. So we can't stop it. But if we can do it in a sustainable way and breed them, then at least we won't kill a species.
Well, that's the interesting thing. It's the same here in Mossel Bay as well. The guys that go hunting octopus here, they'll take out a handful here and there, whereas there was a shipping one that went out, and they were taking out
because they had the traps.
They had the traps, and they had whales entangled and everything.
I know. No, it has to be done in the right way. So obviously, like aquaculture is something that is going to help the locals in terms of not just sustenance in any form, but I mean a very nutritional sustenance as well. So that's why I mean for me, I'll be promoting more along the lines of the crustaceans. But I mean, I know that octopus is probably going to come into it. So if we're not doing it like in that kind of sustainable way, then they are just going to target all the ones, like they have been like devastating all the ones around the island and things like that in an unsustainable way. So I'll just close my eyes for that one.
It is always a contentious issue. It's the same as with hunting. Hunting does a lot for conservation, and it's not going to go away, and people aren't going to all become vegan. So I mean, if you do it sustainably, then you can actually preserve species by hunting them sustainably.
Well, that's it. And I don't always think I think it's well-meaning, isn't it? But I don't think it's always well-placed when you do get people arguing that don't actually know much about the hunting world or the conservation world. They just obviously see the end product and a guy with a picture or whatever, and it obviously raises tempers and emotions, but I don't always think it's necessarily
exactly. And it's like I'd rather send Justin off for like my partner off for a hunt to fill up our freezer with like springbok.
Mass produced.
That's had a good life up until that point, and then fill our freezer with that, eat that, then like go and buy beef off of a supermarket shelf. And I don't know how that cow was treated, but it's probably not been particularly nice, So But there is ways of obviously fishing sustainably, and I know that the documentary Seaspiracy that came out recently sort of really put a lot of people off eating seafood, and I understand that as well. But I definitely believe there is a way to properly manage a sustainable fishing culture. Yeah.
Did I read also that it's part of is it Africa's biggest MPA around there? Or
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
Primeras e segundas. Sorry, my pronunciation isn't that great, but yes, it is Africa's biggest MPA. So and it spreads over an archipelago of about 10 islands.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
so it's a big area.
It's massive.
It's 150 kilometers, I think. I'm under correction, but that's more or less what it is. And it's because it's so far north and remote. There's really nobody that protects patrols there.
It's just locals. It's actually just a name attributed to it, but there's nobody managing it as an MPA.
So it's just
and the criteria. I'm not actually sure what the criteria is for that MPA, which is quite sad. Actually, it's not like it's you can't fish here, you can't do this here, you can't do that here. I don't know. Maybe there is criteria. I just don't know where to find it, and I can't find it actually. So.
I think one of the criteria is there's no commercial fishing allowed.
Okay.
But recreational fishing is allowed, and the locals are allowed to fish there. It's just not obviously any commercial activity.
Like big trawlers.
If I understood it correctly.
Yes, that's it. I know.
Okay, to really make a difference is almost impossible, but even if we can protect one small area, it's at least like one area.
Still got some life there that can...
Yeah.
And you know, you can almost set an example as well. So if you get it right around Ilha de Fogo, that could hopefully then sort of be rolled out across the other and bigger islands as well, you know. So, I mean, there's a development going on at one of the other islands at the moment that is not done in the same way as we're doing it at Ilha de Fogo. So,
but it's a practical thing. I mean, from the hospitality side, if you have 10 rooms, your refuse from that is massive. So obviously the sewage and everything has to go somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
And most of these resorts, unfortunately, and that goes for the Maldives, Seychelles, Mauritius, anything in the Caribbean, they just pump it back into the ocean.
Straight into the ocean.
And it kills everything because it's all the chemicals. If you just think of what one person consumes in medication or something, so all that filters back through the reefs and it kills it. So that's why we're so careful not to put anything back into the ocean. So all our bathrooms are set up in a way that nothing goes into the ground soil, nothing goes into the ocean. We have an incinerator there, so all the rubbish, because there's nothing that no one recycles there, and we can't bring everything back to South Africa to recycle. So we have an incinerator, but it burns so hot that there's
nothing left.
No smoke or anything that comes out. And then we have an engineer that's busy setting it up so that we use the residual heat from the incinerators to fire the pottery kilns.
Okay, that's a cool.
So we
that's secondary use.
So we don't burn wood, and we don't use fossil fuel. So it's all completely like a closed system, completely sustainable. Plus, it creates jobs in the end. And in the pottery, we'll sell it as a community project, but then also use it on our own properties.
Yeah. No, definitely.
I mean, on the island itself, we'll obviously guests will not be allowed to use just any sort of body products. We provide the body products as well, so that it's all sort of reef friendly. Yeah. But proper reef friendly, not just the term reef friendly. You know?
Greenwashing.
Yes, no, exactly. So it's like at least we know exactly what's being used because obviously we're promoting it as a very exclusive, very small group of people that are allowed to come to do the diving as well. So it's going to be like exclusive diving trips, and those divers are getting in the water with all their body products and everything. So you have to kind of be careful what goes back into the ocean.
Yeah, we're quite strict with that. So the shampoos and everything we use in the bathrooms, and that's across all the properties in South Africa, everywhere, not just on the island. It's all biodegradable. And on the island specifically, we make people leave their shoes on the boat. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because, I mean, you have thorns and everything under your shoes from anywhere else. So the moment you walk on this island, you're affecting the ecosystem there. Yeah. So we issue them with a pair of flip-flops, and that's what they're allowed to wear on the island.
That's it. There's your first sponsorship, Crocs.
There we go.
Nope. Not having them. Bright yellow ones.
We are a little bit fashion conscious as well.
Yes, I know, exactly. Too far, Mark. Too
far.
But yeah, no, that sounds amazing. It sounds incredible. And
I mean, it's you would hope that all the guests coming have some sort of sense of sort of being eco-conscious as well. So like they wouldn't mind that kind of that all those sort of rules that we're setting in place. So I mean, I would say that most scuba divers I know have some sort of
eco-consciousness.
Exactly, and some notion of what is harmful to the oceans, so that wouldn't be a problem at all. And I mean, we're providing it. We're not saying you have to buy this and you have to buy that. It's like they're free.
It's part of the package, isn't it?
Exactly, that's it.
Everyone wants a free pair of shoes.
No, exactly.
Going to complain.
Except Crocs.
Crocs not allowed. That should be on the gate as you walk in. No Crocs allowed. Get your own shoes. But if you come in Crocs, taking you off the boat.
That's it.
So what's the diving like? I mean, it's aimed at divers, I guess, this trip.
See, I went at the end of cyclone season. We have those like 2 months of the year that we don't sell packages for anyway. So I was there at the end of cyclone season. So it was like a little bit up and down, but it was still like a little bit up and down was still like 100 times better than I've ever had in Mozambique.
I was gonna say, if you can dive here, you can dive anywhere.
No, exactly.
You've got no expectations.
Yeah, I know, that's it.
We're not setting the bar high.
I know. Like Marcus, I've forgotten his title. island manager.
Yeah, he's managing the property.
Yeah, so he was just like, oh, it's like a really terrible day, you know. And then I would go with Sasha and Tess from Sea Search and go snorkeling. We were like, we can see the bottom. This is stunning.
15-meter viz.
Yeah.
No swell.
Exactly.
26-degree water.
Yeah.
Yes. But you should see these reefs. They're just like nowhere else
Pristine.
on earth. They're completely pristine. They're absolutely stunning on the south side of the island. And then you go to the north side where we've had a little bit of a poaching issue, and it's like almost like it's barren. It just shows you the difference.
Yeah.
So but we're lucky to have like this, it's like kilometers of this pristine reef on the one side of the island. And it's just, like the nudibranchs there are incredible.
Yeah.
I didn't get to see the turtle because Sasha woke it up and it swam away before I could get to it. But
We'll blame Sasha for
I'll
that
forgive
one.
her. I'll forgive her for that. But yes, it was honestly like just something else. Honestly, I mean, you just like. We've had Moat Marine out there who are like coral specialists, and they seem quite impressed with the place as well. And I'm pretty sure they've seen a lot of different reef systems. So if they're impressed, it's got to be a good thing.
Is there any kind of like regeneration stuff you can do for the north side of the island?
Yeah, well, that's it. So we just need to stop the poaching. So I think, I mean, as far as I can see, I mean, the removal of all the octopus is going to have a knock-on effect, because obviously then the crabs, there's nothing to eat the crabs there. The crabs are eating all this, you know, it's that whole like big, the usual, yeah, exactly. That's.
But just in the 10 years that we've been going there, the first couple times, it was like many years ago, on the north side we've got the shallow reef. You would literally stand there and it would be like these massive crayfish just walk over your feet. So you just bend down, pick it up. So, and now there's nothing.
Yeah.
So over that 10 years, everything's just disappeared.
Exactly.
So it's very sad.
I know.
But to get back to the diving was really exciting, and what we haven't explored yet is wreck diving. So
yes.
it's on the old Portuguese trade route, and we know of 3 wrecks that's been registered, but there's many more. There's modern wrecks as well, so it's not just the old ones. But I mean, for anyone that's interested in
Wreck diving.
in wreck diving, and that's the nice thing about this. So divers going there now have an opportunity to explore something that no one has ever explored before. So we don't know what we're going to find. Every time we go, we see something new, see something different.
Yeah.
So there's so much potential there.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I put together a blog on like the shipwrecks in the area, and there's one that apparently wrecked just off of our island in the 1600s that had like I can't remember how much it was, but a lot of silver. Yeah, so the captain made away with like some of the silver, but there's still a lot of treasure that is like unaccounted for.
Treasure hunting.
Yes, it's crazy treasure hunting. I mean, if you find something there, it's going to be incredible. Obviously, we're not going to encourage removal of it.
Well, that's it. You can have everyone flooding in now.
No. But it'd be interesting to be able to find it and just see what's actually down there. And I think thankfully it is protected. It's actually protected by the IUCN, all the sort of shipwrecks in the area, but of course it's policing that as well. It's not really policed at the moment. But there is a museum of Ilha, Mozambique. Sorry, my pronunciation again. So that they actually have some of the artifacts that were found from they've found so many, dozens of shipwrecks in the whole of the Mozambique Channel. So so they've got some of the artifacts there at least. A lot of it was sold on auction. When the scavengers came. Yeah. Scavenger, the right word? Yeah, it is.
I think so.
Yeah.
Professional scavenger.
Exactly, but they haven't found our shipwreck yet. So
still a mystery out there.
Yeah, there's a mystery.
You have to find it and do like a treasure map and leave it in
There is actually
loft attic.
Exactly. But there is like a modern wreck that you can see on low tide between our island and the next island. Which is really interesting.
So you just see it popping up above the surface there.
I think it's only from the 70s or 80s. I can't remember now.
It looks like it's a container ship or something.
But it's really interesting that there's just a wreck that you can see just
still
right there.
Things there.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's amazing.
But I mean, there is basically everything around the island. So you've got on one side, like I say, the pristine coral reefs. The other side, actually, even though it's been kind of the reefs not looking as pristine, there's a lot of seagrass. So honestly, I really believe there's going to be some seahorses there. There's got to be,
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So, or something in the seahorse family. And then the wrecks as well. So like for every type of diver, there's something. And of course, we've got loads of deep water pinnacles that haven't even been explored.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we don't know what type of like maybe possible elasmobranchs are down there. So there's got to be.
Definitely feeling a mission coming
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Go dive,
That's
Elton.
Look, and we haven't really mapped out all the dive spots. So I mean, anyone going now will have naming rights. So
Exactly.
Name their reefs.
Exactly. Name a reef.
No, that's what
incredible.
it's actually. Yes, so it's 150 kilometers of unexplored reef.
Just pristine, unexplored mystery.
Yeah, we've seen about 1% of it.
That's like the biggest excitement for any divers as well. Like you want to be the first one over those areas.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
we do encourage advanced divers. We can't cater for the novices.
yeah.
Yes.
You're not doing courses.
Exactly, because we don't know actually the reef.
No, we have a fully set up dive center there, so we have all the equipment and everything, and we obviously have DMs and all the trained staff, but we don't do courses. So, and also we don't want inexperienced divers to accidentally damage anything.
Yeah.
So.
No, this is it, exactly. It's very hard to keep your buoyancy for even as advanced ones sometimes, so
do that whole pump fishing.
Yeah, exactly.
I've done that. Everyone's like, number one rule, never hold your breath. And you always see it on every dive, there's always some guy going
popping up.
Yeah, but the really novice ones do they like the little seahorse. Nemo fins.
I've done that.
Well, laughing, we've all done it.
I know. I say like I haven't done it before, but yes, I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
What other species do you have there then? Do you have whales coming through?
No, I was actually going to say that recently, the most recent trip, they had all the humpbacks, all the humpback whales, and apparently it was incredible. And then you could actually just hear them as well. If you got your head into the water, you would just hear the humpbacks.
That's insane.
So jealous of that trip, definitely. Yeah.
We've had so many this year as well.
Exactly.
I don't know it's changed. Every year is different, and it just.
Like the usual like season for the whale migration there was about the same as ours, about July to October for the humpbacks. But I mean, I don't know. I will need to check with the island. But I mean, for all we know, they're still there as well because they're certainly still here. So yeah,
we've still got them.
That's and then they have seen hammerhead sharks there. The other big, I can't think of the other larger species.
We have a lot of whales passing through, but we don't have any residents there that like breed there or anything. So we honestly haven't done enough research or spent enough time there to know.
Yeah.
The dolphins. There's all three of the dolphin species that you get here.
Yeah, we've sighted those.
Yeah, exactly.
Not the humpback dolphin. Did we have
didn't,
conclusive evidence yet?
No. Marcus has said that he has certainly seen them, especially around the mangroves. We have mangroves. 45-minute boat ride to mangroves.
That's even in itself.
I know. I'm pretty sure there's dugongs there. There must be. So yeah, you know, all the mangrove species as well, and they are just incredible. And I think that it goes for about 25 kilometers.
It's huge.
Yeah.
If you go on Google Earth and you look at the mangroves there, it's a massive system. And the nice thing about it, because it's so remote, I mean, to drive there, you drive on a dirt road and it becomes a footpath.
Yes.
So there's no cars going in there. So that's how remote it is. So it's only the local communities that live there. So the mangroves have really, I mean, there's a couple of locals fishing and everything, but I think they're so
untouched. And
yeah, I mean, it's amazing. So I haven't even begun to explore the mangroves yet.
Yeah. We did fish, and I know that seems maybe controversial for an eco island, but we have fished there, but we only keep what we're going to cook that night, and it's all sort of that green listed species as well, and the fishing's incredible. So like it's definitely also holds its appeal because it's yes, there are the sort of local fishermen, but there is no big trawlers there, so you've still got a really thriving
ecosystem.
Yes, exactly.
And we have to eat something.
Yeah, no, exactly.
That's
it.
No, definitely.
If you look at, I mean, the sort of footprint, you know, that new that new term people are using. So if you look at that from bringing food to the island or actually just catching our own sort of sustainably catching rod and reel like green listed fish, I'm pretty sure. I haven't looked at it or quantified it or anything like that, but
I think there's a good chance, especially with like CO2 emissions and like shipping things in and everything.
Exactly,
like,
that's it. And we're growing our own gardens there as well, so that obviously again we're bringing the least that we can to the island.
No. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So have you guys started taking clients now, or?
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. And how many do you take at a time?
Well, maximum depends how we get them there, but the ideal amount is 8 because we have a airstrip on the island, so the small plane that lands there can seat 8 passengers.
Okay.
And on the boat you can comfortably seat 8. So 8 is the ideal number.
Perfect number.
Yeah.
So good for a little small scuba diving groups that are coming.
Exactly, and again, sort of to keep the sort of
the impact.
Yes, exactly. Make sure it's like, because it's got to be kept like eco-friendly and pristine, and we don't want to. The way that even the tented areas have been built is like, it's not damaged any of the existing vegetation, which is amazing.
Yeah, we didn't take out any trees to put the tents up. So and it's all under the canopy. So there was a lodge built on the island many years ago. And during a cyclone, it all got washed away because they built the lodge on the beach, which is obviously beautiful for the view, but
not good for nature.
So that lodge didn't. I mean, there's nothing left of it at all. So we built it in the tree line for a couple of reasons. One of it, it's obviously protected from the cyclones, but also then the lights in the evening won't interfere with turtles nesting on the beach. So there's that as well, and shade, because we don't have air conditioning on the island. So
it gets hot.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah.
So
there's a nesting ground for certainly the green and probably the hawksbill turtles as well. So obviously, again, that's something to consider. Yeah.
So everything we did was really thought out and trying to have as little impact as possible on the environment and everything else, and obviously to save costs, so we don't have to have massive output with air conditioning.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
because it's like a small forest, and that's stunning in itself, actually. And it just provides that nice sort of cool shade, you know. Exactly. Yeah. So like the hot sun, you've got somewhere you can go. It's not just like that open island, that typical island with the one tree.
Everyone's trying to crowd under it. Amazing.
It is amazing, I have to say.
I'm excited to see where it goes and see how the future holds for Fire
Absolutely. I honestly think it's a one-of-a-kind island. Well, it is a one-of-a-kind island, definitely. And it's got that, it falls in, like, everything we do, even with Fire Island Eco Retreats, has to sort of suit the ethics of the conservation as well. So like everything.
Keep the narrative.
Yes, exactly that. I mean, we have some existing properties that obviously we're now trying to establish, like, gardens at and things like that. We've got the hotel in Houtby that is just solar powered.
Oh right, wow.
Exactly, so and has a gardens, exactly. So it's just trying to implement the sort of sustainable accommodation.
And it's hard to do. It's not easy.
Exactly.
It's expensive to do.
It's expensive to do. It's hard to do. And
from a business perspective, we really have done things the wrong way. So everything we do is not necessarily the most cost-effective or most profitable, but it's long-term it will be.
Yes. Exactly, and it just it suits the way that the world should be going as well.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And it's a good way to try and adapt and make a blueprint for other companies to do the same as well.
Exactly, that's
especially
it. We do want to set an example.
Other income streams.
Yes, that's it.
It's the most important thing, I think, long term, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
To brag a little bit, the hotel in Houtby, Bidenova Retreat, has just come second in the world for the Skull Awards environmental friendly properties.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's incredible.
Exactly. Yeah. And it is like you say, setting that example, and then that's kind of our flagship sustainable accommodation that we're trying to roll out what we can across the other properties as well. Yeah.
No, well, that's amazing, and you guys are doing an awesome job, and I'm super stoked to see what you guys find.
I know
it's definitely going to have to be. I think there might be a go dive trip booking in.
I think so,
soon.
Absolutely,
that'd be amazing. But I just want to wish you guys the best of luck, and we'll probably wrap it up here. But I just want to say thank you guys for coming in and telling us about Fire Island Conservation Project.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for the beer.
Yeah, no worries. Kind of ruined mine though. Mine's got glass in it. All the way through, I'm like picking glass out of my mouth.
Not the best.
But cheers, Esther and Lynette.
Thank you, Mark. We
we'll
hope to get you over to the island sometime.
And if you have any more developments and stuff, come on and share with us, because it's
interesting
interesting to see the story unfold and see where it goes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.